So, how do you get what you want in life for your own needs? I talked to the author of a book about that very subject named Linda Swindling, and she encourages you to ask outrageously. And here we go. We are live now on Facebook, and I have the lovely and charming Linda Swindling joining us. In just a couple of seconds, we're going on in 3, 2, 1, and boom, there we are. It is now 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central Time, and I'm Terry Brock here to tell you about a great book and some great ways of living and getting what you need in life by asking. And to find out about that, I'm joined by the lovely and charming Linda Swindling, who's joining us from her offices out there in Dallas. Linda, how you doing today?
Great, Terry. Thanks so much for having me.
It is so good to have you here today because I got your book and you're helping people with some really important areas. Those areas of how do you ask when you want to get something? So many people don't, and I think it's a conflict that a lot of us run into. I know I do, that you want to ask, but you also don't want to be too forward, too pushy. And there's ways that we can do it. Your book talks about that. Matter of fact, here, I'm going to do this fancy schmancy thing here. I can share the screen and
Awesome.
let you see it. And so we're going to come over here and let you see the book. There it is. It's called Ask Outrageously, The Secret to Getting What You Really Want. And what we're going to do is it's not just a thing of buy the book, which, yes, we want you to do that. I bought the book myself, read it,
Thanks,
and
Terry.
love it, and I want to share it with you now. But we're going to have, since we got Linda here, we're going to have her share a little bit more with us on that. Before we even get into all the detailed questions, can you give us kind of the big 30,000-foot picture of what the book is about and what you mean by ask outrageously?
Sure. I found over the last 20 years that what people tell me they learn the most about from me was not, the exact tips and not remembering, what does a certain acronym mean. It's that they ask, and that they ask way outside their comfort zone, and they ask outrageously. And so what the book is you probably could get more than you wanted. Most of us say we could. 98% of us say we could have done better if we just asked for a little bit more or taken a risk. But what can you do to ask outrageously?
Very good. I think that's great. Well, what I want to do now is we're going to go in there. We're going to look at the book, and I've got some questions. Matter of fact, Linda, are you impressed? Got my notes here and all this.
I'm
the
impressed.
Book.
Yes.
I
thank
got
you.
this here. Now, there was so much in there. We could literally go for about 20 hours on
Nobody
this.
wants that, Terry.
We're not going to go quite that long.
That'd be outrageous.
That would be
That'd be obnoxious, actually.
We wouldn't be asking about it either, would we?
No.
So what we're going to do is Terry's going to share his screen here as we use this amazing little technology of Blue Jeans with that, and it lets us do it. But come over here to the book and bring up some information. I want to start with one of the things you said at the beginning of the book here. I want to go back here to something you talked about here when you said be the first to ask, when you were at a studio audience with Tonight Show then host Jay Leno. And you got to be there with him. And then you had asked a question. I'm going to let you tell the story, but this is in the book, and y'all want to make sure you look at this and what happened and how Linda took this. And then we're not going to tell you right yet, but toward the end, something of how it happened. Linda, take it away here and tell us about that story.
Sure. Well, we all have some regrets in life. One of my big ones was we were at the studio audience, just like you were saying, at the Tonight Show hosted by Jay Leno, and Jay walks out. And he asked for questions from his audience. And I raised my hand, and Terry, I was first. He pointed at me and he said, yes, what's your question? So what I said was, mentally, I said, well, I'm going to ask him two. One, so he'll like me question, get along with me, and I'm going to ask him for what I really, 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 really want. So the first question I asked him, the like me question, was, so Jay, what's hard about your job? What's difficult? And I was thinking he'd say, the names of people I talk about or something like that. He said something that was, made a joke about it. And he said, well, let's see. I get to work with famous people. I get to be paid a lot of money, and I drive some fancy cars. And then before I could ask what I really wanted, he points over to another lady and he says, what would you like, ma'am? And she goes, can I have a picture with you? And he says, absolutely. And she goes, oh, and she runs down. And he comes back to me and he looks me right in the eye and he said, "That's what you really wanted, isn't it?" And I kind of start getting up in my seat and he says, "She asked." So,
Ooh.
yeah. And so that was my big regret was I had the opportunity. I was first. I had that opportunity and I didn't ask for what I really wanted. I asked for the safe thing, the thing to get him to like me. And I regretted it because I could have had a picture with Jay Leno, right then in front of all my friends. I had a lot of friends there, and yeah, I missed it, missed that opportunity. And I had never told that story until somebody said, "Well, what's something you didn't ask for?" And I went, "This is what happened. I didn't ask."
Yeah. I think we can all relate to that. We have those opportunities that we can do something, but we want to make nice. We want to say, okay, what do you like
Right.
about your job? And in a certain circumstance, that might be good. And I'm thinking, if you were just meeting someone and you're sitting down for a luncheon, you're all together there, you wouldn't jump in right immediately and say, "Hey, can we get a picture of you?" That might be a little too much, but you have to be sensitive to the situation. I think that's something you do talk about often in the book. So I want to get back
Right.
to these things that you've shared in the book. I really appreciated what you said in many different areas. And what I did, as you can see, I took some notes here as I went
Oh,
through
you
this
did. You
and got a
did.
chance to
Yeah.
see, what's going on and what is available there and what we can do. And you talk about this right here. I think this kind of starts us and moves
Right.
in the right direction. I want to get your comments on this a little bit more. Here, let me move back over
Sure.
here. Say, what's difficult about asking? We have these fears that, I'm going to think I will frustrate or bug the person. I'll use the wrong words. I'll embarrass myself or look stupid. I'll be told no. Those seem to be
Right.
the common occurrences. You see that with a lot of people?
I do. And actually 90% of us, say this is something that I could have asked for. I could have done a little bit more, but we hold ourselves back. We block ourselves. And I want you to think about those that you just brought up. It's all about you, isn't it, Terry? You're not concentrating at all about the person you're asking. You're concentrating all the attention on you. I might frustrate them. I might do these things.
Yeah,
I
my
might hear the
agenda,
word
what
no.
I want, etc.
It's
Always
about
about me,
me.
me. Right.
And the big thing is that's not where you should be focusing. You really need to be looking at when I make a request, first off, ask for what you want right up because about a third of us haven't. About a third of us have said, I didn't ask like I didn't with Jay Leno, and I saw something big go to someone else. There was only one promotion, only one trip abroad, only one study, only one something client. But because I didn't ask for the business, I didn't ask for the opportunity, I didn't ask for the raise, I didn't ask for the promotion, I watched it go to someone else, even though I could have had it. And there's nothing worse than at the very, you talk to a boss or somebody and you say, "Oh man, I really wanted that promotion. I really wanted to do that project." And they look at you and they say, "My gosh, why didn't you ask? I so would have let you do that. You would have been perfect for this, but you missed that opportunity." So yeah, that's all me focused. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've got to get away from that. And that's some of the other things you talk about in the book where you go into that. And so let's go back here to the book and look at some of the other information you've got in there. And again, a lot of good notes in here and a lot of good information. My notes here, I got a note I want to take a look over here and some strategies you have that we can avoid that problem and to convey the confidence. We can't share all of these right now due to time, but want to get a couple of these here that you can highlight. Strategies to convey confidence. Pretend you're hosting instead of attending your next party or reception. That sounds really good. Tell us about that, Linda.
Yeah, next time you feel like you're in a new situation, and a lot of us are, you're either shy or maybe you're like a lot of us, you don't want to just go and hobnob and just kind of talk, happy talk. What you really want to do is, go with a purpose. So go there and say, "Hey, is there anything that I can get you? Have you met so-and-so, and find out about them and just become the host of the party." You'll be shocked at how much you feel better about it. You feel a lot more confident. Another thing that you
Exactly.
can, yeah, another thing, Terry, and this is probably one of the big things on confidence, is being really comfortable hearing the word no.
Ooh, yeah.
Would
Why
you
is
like,
that? It's hard to
yeah,
hear no. I want everyone
yeah,
to say
yeah.
yes. How do
Well,
we get comfortable with that?
you want me to bulletproof you on that?
Yeah, please.
Ready? And I'll bulletproof everybody who's attending. No, you can't have it. No, it's not available. No, no, no. Now,
Hmm.
Terry, did you live through it? It looks like you're still alive
I
and
don't know.
breathing.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, no,
right.
there I go. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm still alive. I think the pulse is still there. We seem to be all systems operating within normal parameters right now.
If you're not hearing no, you're not asking for enough. You've got to hear the words no. So, really get used to hearing no, I really can't do that. I'm going, okay, I lived through it. And now, just like Jay would have known I wanted to go get my picture taken,
Yeah.
they at least know that you're interested in whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yep, exactly. So you can think of somebody like Jay Leno when he does that. He's so gracious to come out and get to know the audience and be
Oh,
there.
so nice. Nice guy.
People probably all the time say, "Yes, I want my picture," and he knows that everyone would love to get their picture with
Sure.
him. This is just the way the world is today. But asking for it and being right there up front makes a whole lot of sense. Now, another thing that is really helpful, I love what you talked about in the book when you mentioned the idea of working with people and observing what they're doing. And you talked about being what's called a neutral observer, which is over here on number 13, every six. Let me see if I got this right here. Yeah, you say in all practice requests, become a neutral observer. Do your best to manage your emotions. Identify which requests are easiest to make and when asking isn't worth your time or energy. And when do you feel uneasy or just want to leave? Watch to discover what approaches work and which don't. Tell us what it means to be a neutral observer.
So this is why I want you to practice everywhere. I want you to start practicing, 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 and then just sitting there and saying, this one's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a request. So I'm just going to ask outrageously. I'm going to ask a manager for help. I'm going to ask a coworker to help. I'm going to talk to a family member about something. I'm going to go to garage sales, whatever it is, and just ask outrageously. Ask way outside your comfort zone and just report on the details to yourself. Say, well, that person really looked upset. Wow, well, that person had to go ask something from someone else. They had to ask permission. That person at least is thinking about it. So what you're trying to do is get yourself used to the process of asking, of making these requests that are outside your comfort zone. So then when it's really, really important, it doesn't shock you. And that's probably the biggest lesson I learned from negotiating the big deals was honestly, they didn't feel that different than when I was negotiating for the smaller deals or for making requests from small deals. Really, believe it or not, going to a garage sale and asking for something, that's marked $35 and asking if you could spend 5 or 10 and get it doesn't feel that much different than when you're doing a multi-million-dollar deal. The emotions are the same, the request the same. Can I have more? Can I have less? Will you take less? Whatever it is. Doesn't feel that much different. So you want to get into the practice so that you can be in the moment and just watch. You'll start seeing people. Have you seen people that can make decisions and people that just are, deer in the headlights or scared or are angry people? I'm sure you have, right?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're
Yeah,
everywhere.
interesting what you're saying because that's backed up with a lot of the science and the study in negotiation. I know that you, by training, have your real JD, a real lawyer, and all that. You're a recovering lawyer, you call yourself.
Recovering, yes.
But a lot of lawyers study that and understand negotiation. What you're saying really is backed up. It was one of the things I loved about your book, that what you say are really good, they're encouraging, they're inspirational, but also backed up with research and what you're talking about. One of the things, though, that I think stood out, I loved so much in there. I think one thing that really helped me more than anything is what you talked about. Well, let me just come over here and take a peek at it here. When you talked about a concept that you created a word of your own called wintegrity. There it is. Those of you watching this right now, you'll see that wintegrity. And I hear that and I go, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And she says, if all parties can win and do it with high standards and integrity, you have wintegrity. Now that sounds good. Tell us a little bit more about that and how we can achieve that wintegrity, Linda.
Sure. Well, you're starting to see a lot more of corporations not just reaching out, because I think corporations, companies, associations, we've always done something with the community. But now we're actually telling people what we're doing. Hey, we're involved in a green effort, or hey, we're involved in helping this community resource. So what you want to think about is what's ethical for the community, what's ethical for your workforce, what's ethical for your clients, what's ethical for you. How do you really have integrity in doing it? And, often employees are talked about as not being, that we have millennials, or everybody's talking about millennials and they're leaving. No. people have always left jobs where they didn't feel really fulfilled. If you have integrity, you're a lot more likely to have sticky clients and sticky employees, people who want to do business with you and work. They'll even pay more for things that they know really you have a backbone and you stand for ethical practices, and they want to be associated with you.
Yes, indeed. I think we see that that's important. We want more than the money. Yeah, the money is important. We got to have the paycheck. That's got to be there. But we want even more. And that win-tegrity, a wonderful word that I think you came up with that, didn't you? Win-tegrity?
Yeah, and trademarked it. How about that?
Well, I like it. Very good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a really good point. And the book, again, is packed with it. It's called Ask Outrageously. It's a book that can help you that are watching this like it does me. I've bought the book and already are seeing a lot of positive influences happening to me because of it. It gives you the ability to go from one extreme to the other. Linda, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it seems like on one extreme we're going, oh, I shouldn't ask. That conversation in our head, well, I better not because they're going to say no, so I won't ask. Versus
Exactly.
the other extreme that we might be fearing, and that is I'm going to be obnoxious, and they're going to go, oh, why did you ask that? And it would be a negative. I love the way that you find that delightful blended medium. Be able to say, no, here's how you can do that. Here's how you can get answered yes more. And sometimes it's not going to happen, but sometimes you just got to walk away. Matter of fact, that's one of the things you share also that I think is so important here. Let me go back here and share from the book itself. As we look at what you said here, you talk about ask away or walk away. I like that phrase. You say, how do you determine whether you should continue dealing with someone or are wasting your time? First, you decide if your requests are being heard. If so, keep at it and ask away. If you're wasting your time, you walk away or run away. Tell us more about that, Linda, please.
Absolutely. Well, if people are still engaged with you, giving you information, answering your questions, asking you questions, and you feel like, maybe you're not quite getting your request granted, but at least you're having communications and they're being ethical with you, ask away. And, continue doing business with them, continue being in a relationship with them, continue talking to them and giving them information from you too. Don't hide. And that's a big point. A lot of us kind of hide our secret. I don't want anybody to know that I want $100. And so I'll just say, well, I don't know. What would you offer me? Well, that's nuts. If you know what you want, ask for a little bit more, ask for a little bit less, ask outside your comfort zone, but know what you want. But run away from those people that don't have integrity, because here's what happens. Maybe you'll form a relationship with them, but they'll burn you later, and you don't want to be associated with them. The clients, those employees that you could hire that are supposed to be super great, and they're not. They don't have integrity in different aspects of their life. They cheat on their spouse. They talk to you about it. I worked with a lot of CEOs. I still do. And we were at a restaurant, and this waiter was delightful and was talking about how he was in school. I asked him about himself because I used to wait tables, and I think, Terry, you did too. And we were talking, and he's bought a house. He's putting himself through college. And this little snot that was also trying to do the same job I was doing and working with CEOs turns over to me when he leaves and said, I can't believe you were engaging him and talking to him like that. That's just beneath you. Then, you're supposed to be dealing with CEOs. And I thought, I don't want to be near you, because the CEOs we're talking about also have employees like this young man, and you've got to be able to spot high potential. We're all part of that. We're on a journey. And she was acting, in my mind, out of integrity, because she wasn't helping everybody win, and she was putting someone down. So you really want to look at, you and I know a lot of people, Terry, that say one thing from the stage and do something else in their personal lives. That comes back to haunt you. It comes back to haunt our government officials. It comes back to haunt religious leaders. It comes back to haunt teachers. And it comes back to haunt us. So, help people win. Do it with integrity.
Yeah, Linda, I appreciate you saying that. I think it's so important, because I find that when you go to those situations where you're at the restaurant, it's how they treat the wait staff says a lot about where they are, how they react to people that owe them something. People that are in a subservient position at that moment to them. How do they treat that person? I've seen speakers that are well known that you and I both know be in situations when they just lambasted a poor person that didn't quite bring the eggs right. They weren't just quite right. Rather than go, oh, well, could you try it again? Or, it's okay, I'll go with it, roll with the punches and tell the person something positive. Because the person, I remember sitting there, was doing a very good job. But this other person, the speaker, was just lambasting. And I thought, oh, and it said a whole lot about the integrity of that person. And so what you're talking about really correlates together with the ask outrageously. You're doing it in a polite way. That's another factor you talk about.
Yeah, you want to ask with kindness. Yeah, you want to ask and be polite to people. You're right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jerry.
You talk about that in the book. I think that's very important. And now I wish we could go on here again for about 20 or 30 more hours, I think, because there's so much good in there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a book that you want to see. You want to make sure you take a peek at it because it's something that can really help you in your life when you look at it. It's called Ask Outrageously, The Secret to Getting What You Really Want. Linda Swindling is the author of that. She's been kind enough to join us here. But Linda, before you walk away, a couple of things. I want you to leave us with any final words that we can use, and how do they get in touch with you? How do they find out how to get this book?
Sure. Well, let's start with the first one. You can go to that askoutrageously.com site, askoutrageously.com, and there's links to all the different booksellers there. If you'd like to go on a text, you can go to 42828. So like you would put to Terry or to Linda, put 42828 and put the word ask, A-S-K in there, hit send. It'll send you back, can I have your email? It'll give you some bonuses and nobody else will even know where they are. I'm sorry. And what would I leave you with? I want you all to ask all the time. Ask outrageously. Ask a little bit outside your comfort zone. I know 1 out of 5 of the people watching this are like, yeah, I do this all the time. But probably you have someone in your life that doesn't. The odds are in our favor. 80% of us don't ask for what we really want. Go ahead, ask a little outrageously. Get outside your comfort zone. Ask everywhere. Go bother people at the grocery store. Go see who's at the mall. Go ask and talk to strangers. Be polite. Ask. You will be shocked. Terry, I got one last thing for you.
Please.
The outrageous challenge. In the next 48 hours, everyone who's listening to this, I want you to ask outrageously 3 times. 2 for something that would be business. 1 for something that's personal. Ask outside your comfort zone and just watch and see what happens. Take that asking challenge. Let us know.
I like it.
They can reply to you or they can put it on Facebook. We would love to know what happened.
Exactly. Yes. As we're doing this recording, we are broadcasting this live on Facebook. And we appreciate all those comments that are coming in. And for those of you that are joining us here live on Facebook, please share this. This is a message that we want others to know about. So you can just click on that share button and send it out to others so they can know about the message of this. Whether you buy the book or not, really important, but I'd encourage you to buy the book. You get, for a few coins, think about it. You're getting this wisdom all condensed into one place. It's like if I could say, take this one pill and you'll live to be 500 and you'll be healthy and strong and super smart and all that. Well, you'd take the pill, of course. Well, here's a book that is going to give you a lot of information, a lot of insights on how to, when to, and how to ask those questions that you've been wanting to ask that are burning in you. And rather than getting frustrated with that, oh, gee, I better not ask because they're going to say no, versus being obnoxious, you do it in the middle in an intelligent way, thanks to what Linda Swindling has put together in her book, Ask Outrageously. Thank you, Linda, very much for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, Terry.
And for those of you joining us, I'm Terry Brock. Thank you for doing it. And I want this to be more than a video you just watch and go, hey, good ideas. Go back and watch this. Seldom does one exposure to new ideas really make them stick. You want to go through this, watch it again, take some notes. Do it on your paper and pen. You can use that. Remember those things? Or note-taking device of choice. Write down those ideas. And particularly when you go, oh, I could try this, write that down. As Linda submitted the Ask Challenge, take that Ask Challenge. And I want you to try that, and you'll be glad you did. And please leave a comment here. We'll be monitoring this on Facebook, and you've got the other ways we can reach us as time goes on. So we will look forward to hearing from you. I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com. Thank you for being here with us today.